Rockford's home for classic rocks, 96.7 The Eagle. On the phone, Greg Pryor, World Series champion with the Kansas City Royals. How's it going today, Greg?
Well, it's going fantastic. I wish I was a free agent right now. I would have taken that $10 million a year for 3 years and run away with it. You know, these guys are turning down money like they're making the money.
Isn't it insane the amount of money that's out there and the amount of years? When you were playing, what was the average amount of years for a contract?
Well, you know, if a guy got 3 to 4 years, you know, he was pretty happy. You know, because when I got into baseball in '76, 1-year contracts for the thing before '76. When the basic agreement was done in 1976, and I'm aging myself, I'm 68, but I still remember I was head of the union. The contracts were extended. Now it's like, no, you got to take care of my grandchildren's grandchildren, because I can't spend that $300 million. They're gonna spend it for me. I mean, come on. I mean, it affects the way that people can afford to go to games, and you might, some of the listeners might say, well, wow, he's really talking against the union. No, I'm not. I just got back from Hong Kong, and they don't care about baseball over there. I'm looking at the big picture now more than ever in my life. If I had a chance to sign a contract that would pay all the bills for my family, my wife's family, and my kids' family and their families, I wouldn't complain. I'd go do it and then be a real good member of society.
Well, you look at it, oh, I want 1 more year, or I want, 3 more million. And that's what they're fighting about.
Hey, dude, I want 1 more month, let me tell you.
So if you're not familiar with Greg Pryor, my guest, played for the White Sox for a few years, played for Tony LaRussa, right?
Tony was a rookie manager when he came in. He was just a few years older than me, and I'm thinking, how can this guy be a big league manager? I'm almost as old as he is. Well, he came in, he was a rookie, he made his mistakes, but he went on to have a great career, and I'm proud to say that I played for Tony LaRussa in 1979.
And you also experienced some fun Comiskey Park Disco Demolition night.
Yeah, I was a shortstop when Disco Demolition happened. If you don't know, if you're listening, if you don't know anything about Disco Demolition and you like baseball, you need to go look it up. They blew up disco music between games of a doubleheader in Comiskey Park, and there were 40,000 people in the stands, and were 20,000 outside trying to break in. And I was a shortstop, and it's the most weird atmosphere of any major league game I ever played in. They could give a crap about baseball. They wanted to blow up disco music between games. I kind of like Saturday Night Fever and Donna Summer, you know? I really did. Well, I wasn't into it. I kind of like disco music.
I could see you in one of those white suits with the big collar. Yeah, that's a good look for you.
Hey, I used to wear platform shoes. Get out of here.
And then you went on to play for the Kansas City Royals and win a World Series championship.
Yeah, I was lucky to be on a good team here with George Brett and Frank White and Saberhagen, Quisenberry, and these guys knew how to win, and I just tagged along, and I was one of those guys on the team that just happened to be in the right place at the right time, and believe me, it was a thrill, and I'm so glad. It's better to win than lose, let me tell you.
You talk about that. What is it like going into spring training, because just getting started now, knowing that your team is supposed to do well as opposed to a team that might not be that great?
Well, when you get to the big leagues, it is double T. You better know how to play the game. And when you're around a lot of guys that know how to play the game, we know how long spring training is. We know how long it is before the All-Star break. We know how long it is to get to the postseason or, to try to get near first place. And you get a crust about you that you like to satisfy it because, as I said, winning is better than losing. So when you get around a bunch of guys that really want to win, you just can't beat it. It's just a wonderful feeling, and I know the Cubs did it a couple years ago, and they won their division last year, I think, and then they're going to try to do it again. They went out and got Darvish for all that money. That was shocking.
Yeah, it was.
But the White Sox. I've got a good manager in Renteria. They're going to have a good season, I think. And baseball's the best team sport ever invented. And I'm just so glad that it's here in America and people can go enjoy it. It's the best team sport ever made. And that's contrary to all the hockey and the football fans listening.
You stayed in Kansas City after your career was done. When you're a World Series champion or a world champion in any sport, is that the thing to do, to stay in that city because you're forever going to be remembered as a winner?
Well, it was for me because, I had 3 daughters that went to high school and college at the University of Kansas. I've enjoyed going to the ballpark and wear my Royals, logos, and then you still get invited to fantasy camp. I just got done with the Royals fantasy camp in Arizona, and Bo Jackson showed up for the last 3 days, and I looked at Bo. I hadn't seen him since '86, and I said, "Hey, Bo, Greg Pryor." He goes, "Pryor, I know who you are," and it felt so good to know that the guys that you go to work with, that you pound rocks with, and baseballs too. You get to be friends, and then you stay friends forever. And I have a lot of friends that still live here in Kansas City, and this is a great place to raise kids and to enjoy baseball.
And to live off of George Brett's coattails, right?
Hey, listen, you're going to have me more often because you want all these stories from me. You need to start paying me. No, anyway, no, I just saw George is in fantasy camp too. George Brett borrowed my bat one time. And got his 2000s hit on the bench, and he says, "Pryor, do you have a bat I can use?" I said, "A bat?" I said, "You want to use my bat? You sure?" Anyway, he used it, got a hit, and then I still have the bat.
You do have a lot of good stories. You got to get those down in writing, put them in a book. Everyone's doing books nowadays.
But it's really kind of ironic you say that. I'm writing it right now. I'm going to publish it within 90 days. I got 27 stories in my life. Pine Tar game. Turning down George Steinbrenner. I got so many great baseball stories of a backup infielder. I had a lot of good stories. Anyway, I'm putting them in a book, and if people want to know about my book, the title of it is The Day the Yankees Made Me Shave.com. The Day the Yankees Made Me Shave.com. If they go there, they can read about my book, and they can put their email address in there, and when it's done, I'll let them know, and if they want to read my stories, they can.
I'm talking to Greg Pryor, Major League Baseball player. The Yankees had a policy where you can't have facial hair, right?
I think they can let them grow mustaches because back when I played, they made me shave my mustache before I could go to AAA. And the reason I named my book what I did is I had a mustache all of spring training, and then they made me shave it before I could go to AAA. They said, you got to shave. So I had a revolt, and I got the rule changed. So the Yankees can grow mustaches because of me, basically. Anyway, I think the Red Sox won the World Series with all of that beards on. So I don't think that whether facial hair doesn't win or lose ball games. Let me tell you. But that's the name of the book, The Day the Yankees Made Me Shave. And I'm excited. I got the Disco Demolition story in there. I got the Pine Tar story in there where I played in the Pine Tar game. Remember that one?
Oh, yeah.
The Pine Tar game is when George Brett got used a bat with too much pine tar, and they canceled his home run, which won the game, and we lost the game. But the American League president overturned the rule. We went back in later. I finished the game at third base because they threw George out. Everybody sees George coming out of the dugout with his arms up in the air and screaming and yelling at the umpire for canceling the home run. Well, I get to go play third base when we went back in there. That'll be in the book. What happened? George Brett sold his bat during the Pine Tar game for $15,000.
Isn't that unbelievable? Someone will buy that.
George sold the bat, but he had to give the guy the money back because the owner of the Royals wanted the bat, and he was upset that George sold it, so he had George get it back.
What do you got going on this spring? You involved with baseball at all?
Well, I'm trying to get to the White Sox camp. Ed Farmer's a buddy of mine. He does the play-by-play of the White Sox, and I talked to him the other day. I was out in Los Angeles, and I'm trying to get Ed to get me to come over to talk to the White Sox infielders, maybe, and they're in spring training. And then I'll probably go to a few Cubs games. I'll probably go across town to watch the Royals play. They're in Surprise, and I'm in Scottsdale. It's kind of a 45-minute drive. But, no, I plan on going to some games in March, and then being introduced opening day here in Kansas City. We open here in March 29th, and we play the White Sox.
Oh, nice. Well, that'll be fun to be there for you.
Now, listen, it's not that far from Rockford down here. I've given you, offered you free tickets for many years.
I know.
Come down here.
It's always great to talk to you. People should look for the book coming out soon. Are you still doing Life Priorities?
Yeah, we got Life Priority is my health and nutrition company. If people want to know about my nutrition company, they let them go to lifepriority.com. I've been in the health and nutrition industry for over 20-some years, lifepriority.com. And if they have any questions, they can email me at customerservice@lifepriority.com.
Greg Pryor, former White Sox, former Kansas City Royal, and he's my Major League Baseball expert. We'll check in with you before opening day. How's that sound?
Yeah, how about the Cubs and the White Sox in the World Series? Let's talk about it, okay?
Okay, that sounds good. We'll do that very soon. Thanks, buddy.
Double T. Thank you, Double T. Thanks for listening.
It's Rockford's home for classic rock, 96.7 The Eagle.